Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a landscape with some hay bales and a really beautiful sky sunset. And I'll show you step by step how to do it from start to finish. I think this would be kind of a medium difficulty painting. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's managing chat during our live show here, so if you've got questions while I'm painting, you can ask those, and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Alrighty, so today I'm going to be using a 9 by 12 inch canvas panel. This is a Belgian linen canvas archival canvas board from Fredrix. They're our canvas sponsor. I love these boards because they've got a really rigid inside support, and so they don't warp. And they've got kind of a low, that linen texture is kind of a low textured surface, so it's really nice and smooth to paint on. Our brushes we'll be using a number 12 bright Princeton fan brush of some sort. These are the Select Bristle fans, 2 and 10/0. This is the 6100 series in the green handles. And then I've got some other little Deerfoot stipplers, just whatever size you've got of Deerfoot stippler. That'll be for some of the greenery. I may use, instead of these, I might use my Willows blenders. So just, you don't have to have all these brushes, just whatever kind of stiff bristled brushes you have. The trees in this one are pretty small, so you'll want kind of a smaller size stiff bristled brush for your texture on your greenery, and then also in your clouds. And then I've got a 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch angle shader for, I'm not sure if I'm going to need those because our little hay bales are quite small on this one, and so I've got a few smaller brushes for some of the smaller details to fill those in. I've got a couple of round brushes, number 1, 3, and a number 3, and then a 10/0 liner for some of the grasses here in case the liner, the fan brush, you know, I might want to just kind of like have a few that are a little bit more defined, so I'll use the liner brush to do that after I use my fan brush on the grasses. So I think this will be a really fun project. I'm really looking forward to it. The sky is just spectacular on this picture. So let me go over our paint colors really quick. I've got burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, cadmium yellow medium, cadmium yellow light, phthalo green yellow shade, cobalt teal, phthalo blue green shade, light ultramarine blue, dioxazine purple, quinacridone magenta, and cadmium orange. This is unbleached titanium, titanium white, and zinc white. Now, if you don't have all these colors, just use what you've got that's similar. Doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. I've also got some glazing liquid here just to kind of help smooth out when we do our clouds. It's a little bit easier to kind of blend with those with the glazing liquid. All right, let's get started on our drawing. Hello to everybody. Welcome. Glad you're joining us from Saturday. I'm like cooking it. Yeah. I noticed that one of my other videos, like people dropped off like before I was doing the thing, so it's taking a long time to do it. So I'm going to try to like kind of really get that part done fast so that we can get to the meat of the lessons earlier. So, what?
Real quick here. Yes. Somebody asked before the show started, what if they don't have the heavy body paints and they only have like craft paints?
Yeah, craft paints will work. The techniques are a little bit different. I do have a video called How to Blend with Different Acrylic Paints, and I would watch that because it shows you kind of how to do the same techniques with the different paints, and there is a little bit of difference. So yeah, I would look for that video. But you can do these paintings with those craft acrylics. You might just need more coats of paint, mainly with the craft acrylics. They don't cover as well as the heavy body. And some of the techniques like dry brushing are different. But for the most part, the stippling and things that we're going to be doing in this painting are going to be pretty similar. So you'll probably be okay. All right, so I'm going to find my horizon line here is very low. So it's actually, here's my third. I'm coming just below the third for that grass. So I'm just going to kind of come under here and I'm using my hand here to prop it, and I'm just not going to move this. I'm just going to kind of use that finger to guide that all the way across there. And this is actually kind of angled up, so I'm going to bring it down just a little bit over here. It's kind of angled in right here, so I'm going to drop that line a little bit on that side. And then these trees are really low here. There's a big one there, and just kind of do some little wigglies for where I want my tree line to be. And then it drops real low here. It kind of where this field and this field meet, there's just a slight angle right here. And then these ones are a little bit lower even. They're a little bit farther away. So just really skim that. And I wouldn't go any farther above than the quarter or the third mark here on our canvas. So just keep it low. And then we've got a big old tree right here. It's very far in the distance, and I'm going to move it over because I feel like it's competing with this sunset that's kind of the star of the show. So I'm going to also move my sunset, the sun, to just slightly in on the canvas so it's not like right on the edge of our, like it is on our photograph. And then I'm also going to move my tree over just a little bit so it's a little closer to the third. It's not going to be quite right on the third, but it's going to be a little bit closer to it right here. I'm not going to make it any bigger. I'm just going to keep it that kind of small size, and it really pretty much just barely comes down below that horizon line there, and it doesn't come up very much farther than that there. So okay. And then you're really not seeing the tree trunk very much. There's just a little tiny bit of tree trunk there and a nice dark shadow underneath that continues off this way and kind of bisects this whole part of the field here. And then you've got a lot of little teeny tiny Haybales, super cute, all kind of dotted. And I mean, some of them are just like literally dots. They're so small. So we're going to have to kind of move some of these around. So I'll probably bring some of them in a little bit. There's one that's kind of right in front of the tree that's like right on the same level. And I'm not going to really draw them all in because we're going to be doing grasses over first. So it's not going to, we're just going to paint over all that anyways. But I do want to kind of mark out where I want my shadows to go because I'm going to try to kind of get those in sort of generally. So there's this one, you come down a little bit farther and you've got another shadow that comes along here that goes almost to the outside corner, and then right above it is going to be this little hay bale right here. That's our biggest one. And I do have another hay bale video, so if you want to use that one in combination with this one, you could probably kind of combine some of the same techniques. Make those ones that hay bales are a little bit bigger. So, and then there's all this little, okay, so that right about, let me see, right about the, yeah, about the third. So if you split this bottom part into 3 parts, that top third is sort of where the dividing line is between that level and the foreground is all kind of in this bottom third, 2/3 of it. And there's a little bit of a shadow that comes across right here that's pretty close up to the top edge of that line, but most of this is just grasses. And honestly, you could probably do some like little, I don't know if there would be any flowers growing. It doesn't look like necessarily autumn. It looks like it's summertime when the hay gets cut. So you could probably get away with doing a little bit of wildflowers down here too. We might do that if we feel ambitious today. What were you saying?
Did you say when the hay gets caught?
When the hay gets cut.
Cut, okay.
Caught?
Got, G-O-T.
Got. Oh, no.
Gets got.
Gets got, no.
Okay, whatever.
No. All right, and then our clouds are like that, but I'm not going to draw those right now because I don't want, I'm just going to do my sky.
Do you mean it doesn't naturally grow in those big balls?
What? They don't grow in the big balls? No.
Not naturally?
No. Not naturally.
That's odd.
All right, I'm going to spray my paints down here because they're starting to get a little dry waiting. I'm going to wet my brush down. I'm starting with the largest, the 12 bright, and I'm going to do the sunset area first. I'm going to grab my, just out of the corner of my brush, I'm going to pick up some of this cadmium yellow light. My paints are drying really fast today. I think it's that dehumidifier that we got going on in the other room. Like they're already dry. Sticky over here. Not good. Get a little bit of white And I'm going to go in right here where my sunset, and I should not have painted that in blue. I'm gonna wipe that off and try to get all that blue off of there.
Amateur. Man.
Quiet.
It's hard to talk with my mouth full, so don't make any more mistakes, okay?
Okay, you don't have to look over here right now. Just mind your own business. Mind your own beeswax. Okay. And getting some of the
I'll turn on my Christmas
Cadmium
lights.
Yellow Medium and Cadmium Yellow Light. And do that next. Kind of more golden light so you can see. I don't want to touch that blue. I used a watercolor pencil to do the drawing, but it does kind of pick up the color. And I'm going to go and go right over that tree that I drew. And you'll be able to see a little bit of that blue, but hopefully most of it will kind of disappear there. And that way I can do my, when I do my tree, there'll be some, when I stipple it on there, you don't want it solid anyway, so that way it'll kind of have some of that sky peeking through. Okay. I'm going to get some orange here. And comes this way. Adding that in kind of gradually. Again, you can see where it's kind of picking up that blue. Grabbing some of the Quinacridone Magenta. Adding that down low here. And then grabbing some more of that yellow. Adding some white. And come back like this and try to blend that out just a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then up here it goes to white pretty quick. So I'm just going to get my white. And it goes kind of almost white before it goes into the blue. Up here. And you can see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of feathering out my edges. So I'm just kind of brushing them out really thinly so that I can continue to build on my blend. And I don't have to go back in and fight any kind of hard edges here. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. You just kind of want to work slowly and build up those levels. I'm going to get some quinacridone and quinacridone magenta and ultramarine blue. Make a purple. A little bit more water, maybe a little bit of glazing liquid here. It's mixed with what's in my brush, so it's kind of okay. So right here, you can see where it's kind of trying to lift off that color. I need to not blend right there right now because it'll try to lift off that color. So I'm just going to work on this area over here, my tree line. Keep it low. And then most of the rest of this is blue. So I'm not going to worry about blending that out right now because what's going to happen is it's just going to cause a muddy mess if I try to go over it because that color I can tell is starting to dry. It was put on pretty thin, so it's trying to dry. I can layer it over the top of it after it's dry, but I can't do it while it's in the middle of its drying process. You can do it while it's wet or when it's dry, but you can't do it while it gets sticky when it starts to dry. Those acrylic molecules start to bind to each other, and it'll stick to your brush and pull right off the canvas, and then you won't be able to get anything to stick to your canvas right there. So we'll just let that dry for a minute, and we'll work on our sky and kind of bring it down. We'll work on this blue, and by the time we bring it down, hopefully that part will be dry.
Very scientific.
The
acrylic
like
molecules. That was impressive.
Yeah, it's true. It's how they work.
Mm-hmm.
And they look just like that when they do. It's really weird. If you look
at
it
that
under
with
the
your
microscope.
Hands, they're like that, huh?
Uh-huh.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to make a blue. I'm adding a little bit of my pink color just to kind of tint it a little bit. I've got basically equal parts of ultramarine blue and phthalo blue. They make this really beautiful kind of just medium tone blue. The phthalo blue is kind of green, ultramarine blue is kind of purple. So when you put them together, they just make this kind of nice basic blue that's sort of medium in tone. I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm seeing a little bit more of this purple in the sky. I'm going to add a little bit more of the ultramarine blue up here. Yeah, there we go. And just added some white to kind of tone it down just a little bit. Okay, once I get it all the way across here, I'm going to start adding white and just bringing it down and adding more white each time I go across. I'm trying to keep that wet layer active. So trying to keep that bottom layer of wet paint active, and I won't really go back up and mess with that top layer. Add a little bit of water here. There we go. More white. I need more white. I didn't put out enough. I'm also kind of following the direction of the clouds that are going to kind of come up after. So they're all kind of going in this general direction. The ones here are kind of coming up straight up this way, so I can kind of stack it this way. Kind of shorter, choppier brush strokes. But these ones over here, I'm just kind of doing these nice long feathery brush strokes. So it'll just look like clouds underneath our layers here when we do our clouds on top. Okay, get some more white. And then as I come closer to this horizon line, I'm going to add some of this pink that we used in there and kind of blend those two together. Come on, I don't know why that's not wanting to go in there. Okay.
So what?
I don't know. Oh, I started to say before you were talking about the question that if you're new to the channel, we hope you'll subscribe and come back.
Yes.
Hope you enjoyed today's. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That just tells YouTube algorithm that you want to see more videos like that. Helps us out. It'll help us get suggested alongside other art videos on your feed. And also, if you want to see every single new video that we come out with, and want to make sure you don't miss anything, there I'm adding that quinacridone here just to that blue. You can click that little bell icon, just like a little bell to reminder, and that will make sure that you get notifications, because YouTube
At some point.
What? At some point. I know a bunch of people said they didn't get notifications of our cotton bowls, which turned out really cool. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that wasn't a more popular video, because I really liked how it turned out. It was really fun. It got a lot of splatters in it too, which I like. So. Yeah, so anyhow, YouTube, then the way they're doing their new algorithm, they pretty much only pay attention to the last week or two of videos that you've watched. So if you just kind of got on a craze of cat videos and that's what you decided you wanted to watch for a couple weeks and didn't really watch any of the art channels, it'll just kind of decide you're over it, and you won't get suggested the art channels really anymore. So getting the bell notification will just kind of make sure that you do get notified, because YouTube's algorithm is trying to figure out what you want to watch, and it doesn't always get it right. It's always kind of suggesting weird stuff to me. I don't know why. So
it's not their musical vice president?
No, their music, the suggestions are just so weird, because I like to watch music videos while I'm reading, and I don't really watch the videos. I just listen, and they just play the same like 12 videos over and over again. It's like a little variety. So I have to actively go search for. So the algorithm on the music algorithm I know is broke, and I'm sure the art one is not much better. So if you want to bypass it altogether, I would suggest clicking that bell icon.
You didn't even get my pun.
Just FYI.
But that's okay.
I don't get your puns. I don't. I usually don't. I don't know why you think that's something new.
The musical vice president. The Al
still
Gore
don't get it.
rhythm.
Oh God.
Thank you very much.
He's not vice president anymore, so I don't know.
But
why.
I mean, I think they are always considered that, aren't they?
Are they? I don't know.
I don't
Maybe.
know. And now she's speechless.
I'm just not even gonna. I don't want to encourage that kind of behavior. You're on timeout. I'm putting you on timeout. All right, so basically I'm going back in here and just kind of trying to smooth out this transition. It's not wanting to blend very well for me, so I'm just kind of trying to grab those colors that I've already used and lay them over one another. Getting some of that yellow. Man, these are drying out really bad on my palette today. I definitely... Do you want to... would you...
I think it's the air thing.
I know. Will you fill up my humidifier over there for me and
Sure.
get that running? Because I think that'll help. Okay, see what I did there? I kind of picked up that yellow, added a little bit of the white to it. And now I'm just bringing it out. And I want, when I start to blend these, I start it lower than where I want the blend to occur. So if I want, I'm trying to get this fixed here. Just covered up my sun here. It's the sun. Okay, there we go. That's good. Yeah. Okay, you're not a good influence on me. You make me forget what I'm saying.
What color
do you want
it to be?
No, blending. No, I was talking about blending. So I'm going to add a little tiny bit of that pink because there's just a little bit of pink tones in this as it comes across here and blends. So just adding a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta to my blue here. And I'm going to come across and just kind of do all the way across here and see if I can get kind of a soft blend of this pink added along that edge. And I will start out, so I want to blend this blue down into here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean out all this yellow out of there because I don't want to create a green. And I have a lot of white in my brush too, so I don't want that influencing this. I'm going to get that as much clean as I can quickly because I don't want to wait too long for this. I want to get it going. Grabbing some of that ultramarine blue, and the reason I mix over here is because you can see what a mess it makes. It spreads. So if I try to mix up real close up there, it's just gonna get all these other colors involved, and I don't want that to happen. So just trying to, there we go. So we got that nice beautiful blue. That's this color up here. So I'm going to do another layer, and I'm just going to, once I get to that line where I want to blend, I'm going to start introducing that color, and I'm going to go right above where I want to blend it and bring it down. So right above where I want to blend it. And I've got that fresh blue paint, so that mixture is mixing with that fresh blue paint, and then I'm going to pull it down over the top of this paint here, and it should blend for me. So if I want to blend this in, I'm going to come below it, blend up. There we go. really sticky. My paints are really dry today. We've got a dehumidifier running in our house, and it's, I don't know, it's really affecting my paints today. Yeah, I think that yeah, it is. The air's blowing straight on my canvas. Well, I don't know. Just making it a little bit harder to do. I can add a little bit of glazing liquid. That'll help give me a little extra blending time. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be putting our clouds over the top of this, but I do want it to look fairly soft, you know. I just want it to kind of look, yeah, that's better. So we've got kind of a decent gradual blend there. I'm going to kind of bring that blue down a little bit over this here. So we're going to have clouds coming in over the top that are kind of light, and then these are getting darker as we get over here. This is getting a little bit darker, so I'm going to go a little bit darker along that back edge here. Getting a little bit of that glazing liquid just to help it smooth out. I mean, that's already dry that I just mixed. Okay, I think that's good. That would be a good base for our clouds to go on top of. So now we want to do our grasses. I'm going to use a little bit of that blue and yellow from our sky. Add a little bit of white to it. Use it under here. So I've just mixed my sky colors together. These are farther away. You're going to get kind of more of that sky influencing your colors when you're farther away. I have no idea where that tree was drawn in there, so I'm just going to kind of go for this and hope for the best. I lost all of that tree there. Okay, there we go. What a beautiful color, isn't it? Okay, then as we get closer, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow oxide. More white. I'm going to grab a little bit of this phthalo green, which is basically the colors that we were using there, because phthalo green you can mix with phthalo blue and yellow. You can get something close like this cadmium yellow light. So what we had here was just basically phthalo green plus white. It wasn't, you know, we weren't mixing anything in particularly. We were just using up the rest of our sky colors to do it. So you could use phthalo green and white if you wanted to for that part. Okay, so now I'm just adding a little bit more yellow tinge to it as we come down a little closer to us. Here. And again, I am way off camera, aren't I? Was I way off camera when I was doing that? I think I am, because I need to keep it down here, I guess.
If you stay on the left side of the canvas, you're okay.
Okay.
Just leave the right side blank.
Leave the right side blank. I mean, these have already formed a skin. This is bad.
I'll take down the air thing.
Yeah, I think you need to. Adding a little bit of purple to my green, purple, green, and burnt umber here. And I'm going to use that for my foreground. I want it nice and dark. And remember, it's going to be at least halfway down, so at least halfway down your area here, your grassy area. It's going to be this darker green. Mark we did the renovation on the house and the studio, and we've left the air vent off, and I'm not sure why you put it on, but he put it back on this morning. He left it off. I'm not sure why it was left off in the first place, and I'm not sure why we put it back on today, but I don't know. Mark's motivations are a mystery to me, so I don't ask questions. Just not really sure what was going on there.
I'm the man of mystery.
Okay, yes, I think so. Okay, there we go. All right, was I staying on camera that time? Hopefully.
I don't know.
Hopefully.
Sure. Kiss.
Thank you. You're my hero. So we just got to find a pretty vent cover that has no direction to it.
Well, you need to set it up so it doesn't blow air towards the paint. Mm-hmm. So I left it off so that it would maximize the air coming through while all the other vents were off.
I see.
And then since the vents are going back on in the other rooms, I can put it back on.
I see now. Okay. I knew there was a reason. I just
there's logic
remember.
Somewhere in this.
I couldn't remember
this
what
strange
it was.
mind of mine.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to throw that out. Find a clean spot on my towel here to work with. In fact, I think I need fresh towels. That's one of those ASMR. Love that sound. Just taking a break for our ASMR people. There we go. You're welcome.
We need to get an ASMR mic. Those things are...
No, we don't, because I already sound like Darth
sensitive.
Vader when I mouth breathe. Way worse.
I remember I was doing a YouTube live, Facebook live while you were doing it, kind of behind the scenes. I had the mic, and I didn't realize I had the mic so close to my mouth, and people were like, Mark? And just like that, we're done. Great job, honey.
It's actually pretty nice just like this, isn't it? Not bad. All right, so let's do our trees down in here. Well, actually, no, we need to do our clouds first. I'm getting ahead of myself there. We can do kind of the basic bottom part of them, but we won't want to come up any higher than, we don't want to go all the way to the top with it. So I'll go ahead and we can base in some. I'm going to use a lot of purple for these ones in the distance. A lot of purple, a little bit of ultramarine blue with my more green here. I'm going to use that down low, and I'm just going to kind of scratch. I've got the Willow's blender, so it's got a little bit of a scruffy texture to it. I'm just going to just scratch it in there in the distance. And I'm going to come up a little bit, but I'm not going to come all the way up to where the top edge is, because I don't want to have to paint around it later. So I'm going to come up a little bit.
Angela Anderson.
Basically, we're doing our dark areas of our tree. What were you saying?
I was going to say Angela Anderson, the paint scratcher.
The paint scratcher. instead of the paint whisperer. I thought that was mine.
Whisperer and now Scratcher.
Scratcher.
Some people scratch records.
Yeah,
You scratch paint.
I do.
So is this painting made from scratch?
No more puns. I'm telling you. Stop.
They come for the paint. They stay for the puns.
No, they don't.
I think that should be your new
They
logo.
leave because of the puns.
They leave, though.
Come for the paints, stay for the puns. That way, we knew our new tagline.
Yeah, that's
Should
your
be
new
on the channel.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think stay for the dad jokes. That's what you should say. Alrighty, so I'm really. Let me get a little bit of the ultramarine blue. I'm seeing some ultramarine blue in here, and I'm just going to kind of soften up that upper edge there. I don't really want a straight line there to have to deal with later. Bottom line is fine, but this top one I don't want to like a straight line because then you'll be able to see it through when we put our next layers on. So I just want to tap over that and kind of soften that whole area up there. All right. Get some of that green. Actually, let's use a cobalt teal, a little bit of that. Cobalt teal, mixing it in with this green that I add out of my brush here, adding a little bit of white to it. And I'm going to use it right there just to kind of softly blend over that edge of trees right at the tree line there, just to soften that up. I want it close. It doesn't have to be the exact color as that background green, but I'm just gonna scrubbing it on side to side here. It's fairly thin. It's just gonna tint it a little bit. Soften that line. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I like the blend in the sky. That turned out pretty good. I'm happy with that. That'll make it way easier when we do our clouds. So so let me start with I'm going to go ahead and grab this brush here. This is the 1/4 inch Willows blender. And I'm just going to start kind of laying in the foundations for some of our clouds. And looking at the lighter areas, because in these, the lighter areas is actually going to be kind of the background. You know, usually we'll work from the back to the front. So the lighter areas are actually going to be the outside edges of our clouds. And then the darker areas are going to be kind of in the middle. So I'm going to start with the light this time, and then we'll work to the dark. So I'm going to grab some of I had a little bit of the titanium white. I'm going to grab some zinc white, which is transparent, which just makes it a little bit easier with clouds. It just makes them a little more natural looking. And I've got that cadmium yellow medium. And I'm going to tap in here. It's going to be pretty hard to see. Let me get the yellow or the white, and I'm going to put in a little bright area for my sun right there. And like I said, I moved it in about a 1/2 inch or so from the edge. So it was right on the edge before, so I've moved it in just a little bit. So now I'm just kind of tapping out those outer edges there to give us a little glow right there. And then we've got some clouds. They're coming up over. I'm just putting in some of the lighter areas at first. Like I said, just kind of the outer edges of these clouds. Even though these clouds are going to be kind of really mostly pink, I'm still just going to kind of use this to sort of draw them where they're supposed to go. And this one's going to kind of just keep it low, so it should kind of get lost in this when this is brought up a little bit. So this first line is very low to the horizon, and then we're going just above it. And this next line is going to go right to about here. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of that Zinc White and just kind of tap in. I don't need a straight line, but it kind of meanders here and starts to get a little bit bigger, wider, widens out a little bit, like a sunburst. Let me go ahead and add just a little touch of pink. I'm seeing some pink in there. There we go. Zinc White, Quinacridone Magenta, and I've got that yellow still in my brush. Cadmium Yellow Light. Alright, so just above this line here, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of this color down low here. So just above it, kind of skimming low, it's going to be another line of clouds that just goes just above those trees right in here. And then another line that kind of comes up above that, another line here. Okay. Grab some of that Zinc White and start adding a little bit more of that. Widen out some of these clouds. These ones that are down low are actually going to be really small. It kind of, clouds are kind of a mind bender for me. I don't know why. For some reason I feel like they're low, they should be bigger, but I'm not really sure why my brain does it like that, but it's actually not true. The ones, this is the farthest distance, right? So everything down here on this horizon line is going to be small. This is the smallest, and it's going to get bigger, 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 bigger as it goes out from that line, our vanishing point. So these clouds here are going to be a lot smaller than the ones that are at the top of our canvas. And then the stuff at the bottom of our canvas is going to be large as well. So large here and here, small here. For some reason, when I would do clouds from memory, I would always put little clouds up here and bigger clouds down here, and that was wrong. So, not really sure why I did that, but a lot of the stuff that I did in college and things had weird clouds in it. If I didn't have a reference photo to look at. So, all right, so I'm going to do some of these bigger clouds up here. This one's got a nice big one, and it is, I'm just trying to get these angles right, because you want everything to be going down towards our sun here pretty much. So I want this to kind of go up here, and then this one's going to come up over the top here with our darker clouds. So like that. Big old cloud right here. Another big one here. And everything kind of going down there. And then there's another one that fits right in between here that kind of spans this. So it's got some little bitties. Let's get some of that Zinc White here. And the nice thing about the Zinc White is it's so transparent that if we get a kind of where we don't want it to go, it'll be really easy to cover it over, and it'll kind of just blend into our background really well. So grabbing a little bit of that glazing liquid and just doing this layer here that kind of ends up merging with this one here almost. Well, kind of not really. It kind of does its own thing. So it goes all the way down here, and then this one is right here. Okay, so I think we've got our lines here going pretty well. So we've got one, two, one big one right here, smaller one here, 3, 4, and that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then 6 here. And then this one is really not, I don't think you could call it a ray because it's all kind of all over the place down here. These ones go kind of more in an arc. So they're kind of doing like this. So let's do a little cloud right in here. There's a big bright cloud right here. Trying to keep these edges really soft too. I'm not putting these in super solid, just kind of tapping a little bit, keeping the edges really irregular and fluffy. I'm not really worried about the dark areas because like in these clouds, the dark are kind of in their own area. So I'm just looking mostly at the light areas right now. These light clouds. Actually, there's a bigger one right here. And then this one right here. Fairly low down. Let's get a little bit, yeah, that's still a little bit wet right there. Get a little bit of that color that was our orange mixture. Had a little bit of all the yellows in it, a little bit of the orange, a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta. And let's see, let's come up our sun right in here. Let's add a lot of glazing liquid to this to keep it transparent at first so it doesn't overwhelm our painting. There we go. And then it's gonna transfer into like the more purple colors, but I'm going to kind of tap into that and soften those edges out a little bit. Grab some of that white and yellow. In fact, I'm going to grab the titanium white, a little bit of yellow, and use it really bright right in here, right along those edges of that cloud. Okay, keep it soft at first. You can always, with clouds, it's better to just kind of go slowly, build up your layers gradually. I think the tendency is to kind of rush it and put on too thick of a layer too quickly, and then you end up with solid looking clouds. So just kind of be patient and take your time with these, build up your layers slowly, and you'll get some nice, really wispy looking clouds. Okay, so I'm gonna use a little bit of this green in here. And this one starts to turn purple pretty quickly, but I'm just gonna do like that. There's some. Little random clouds in here. Seeing this orange color all the way up into here. And then there's kind of using the edge of my brush here to kind of get off some of these little tiny little wispy things into the sky. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So the orange kind of stops right about in here. Kind of does this sort of arc. And then we start to move into the pinks and purples. I'm going to get that bright white, a little bit of yellow, cadmium yellow light. That's the brighter of the yellows. I'm going to use it right in here. In that, I'm using that titanium white so that it'll be a little bit more opaque. It'll cover over these other colors a little bit better. Because since we're doing yellow on yellow, it needs that brighter pop of white to be seen. Otherwise it'll just kind of disappear into the yellow. It won't cover. So get a little bit. I'm doing some of those bottom edges to catch the sunlight. All these edges that are facing the sun. Okay. If we got this blue dark enough, it's kind of a fine line. You don't want your blue to be, you want that nice blend to the yellow, then you want your blue to be dark enough that you can see these clouds over the top of it too. So for some reason these are all looking like the same clouds. I'm going to try to mash these shapes around a little bit. This one ended up kind of being a weird shape because I realized it was too low, so I kind of started moving it around. All right. When you're using the white, you have to be real careful too, because since it's more opaque, it's much more obvious where you put it, so keep a light touch with it. Keep your brush structure all kind of soft and fluffy. Okay. And this paint's pretty juicy. I'm keeping it fairly wet, so it's not dry brushing. I'm not dry brushing this. I'm putting it on fairly thickly. But I'm just making sure that my edges kind of have a softness to them. Okay, and then now we're over here. I'm going to grab some more of that titanium white. Get some of the Quinacridone Magenta. I'm going to add it. Let me see what I want. Yeah, let's add a little bit of this cadmium yellow to it, just a little bit. It's kind of just a slightly pinkish salmon color. It's almost the same color as our Unbleached Titanium. I'm going to grab some of that Zinc White, mix with that, and start using that in here to build up some of these clouds in here. These ones kind of have this sort of stripes almost in them, so I'm going to create the little stripies. And if you feel like you're getting a little too thick, you can always grab a little of this glazing liquid and kind of tap back over. And you can soften those edges up with a little of the glazing liquid. I think we're doing pretty good about our placement. I'm trying to get the placement right. All of these, because there's a big old cloud right in here. It's sort of right smack dab in the middle of our canvas. A little bit of that titanium white. A little bit of glazing liquid. I want to merge this yellow with this that's going on over here. So I'm going to kind of overlap some of these with a little bit of this color to kind of introduce it up in here. Too. Especially these ones that are up at the top of the canvas. Okay, get some of that titanium white. Okay. Just adding a little bit brighter whites to a few of these areas here. Okay, so let's do these salmon colored little clouds, baby clouds all the way along here. Really small ones. Kind of leave spaces in between them.
So,
It's much better with the air, thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
So what are you doing on Thursdays?
On Thursdays, we are working on an owl. We just started on it. I just basically got the background. I'll show you the background. It's not much. Woo, super fancy. But that's that background of the leaves all the way around it. We're going to have our owl right in here. And we drew it out. So that was, let me see if I can find the drawing of the owl. There it is. So there's our owl drawing. So yeah, I go through, it took me an hour to do the drawing. I just take my time in there, in that group. And we have all month to finish the painting, so I can take my time and kind of go slower, answer questions as I go, and we get a little bit more in depth into like kind of more realism in our paintings. Most of the time it's realism. Sometimes we do other styles, but the owl's going to be kind of more realistic style this month. So I figure we'll have another week at least to work on the background, kind of basing in some stuff, and then we'll probably hopefully finish our owl the following week, and then work on the leaves the last week. So we've got 5 weeks in this month to finish it, but I think we may only need 4, but I don't know, we'll see. But that group is a lot of fun. We do that weekly on Thursdays.
And that's the Patreon Facebook group.
Yes, the Patreon Facebook group.
It's $10 level.
$10 level, and they also get their own critiques. So if you're working on something, it doesn't have to be my paintings. Like in my other Facebook group, Thankful Art, I don't have time to do critiques anymore. It's pretty much my art. Sometimes if I'm in there and I happen to have a time, I will do critiques if they're asked for. Mostly it's just kind of just to encourage people, but that Facebook group is for kind of if you want to take it to the next level and you want to get a little bit more guidance on your art, you can get in there, and we do a little bit more in-depth critiques. I'd get out my sketch pad and kind of help you if you are stuck on something. Kind of show you how to help maybe finish your painting, whatever it is you're working on, and
How to do like math formulas and problems?
No, pretty much no math involved.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's fun. We have a good time in there, and they get to pick what we do for our bonus videos. So our bonus video this month is going to be the the bridge, the autumn bridge painting. So, yeah, that one.
And right up there.
Yep.
And that's what, next Sunday?
Yes, the 13th.
And that's available at the $5 level and above.
Right. And there's also several other bonus videos that you get access to at that level as well. There's a cornucopia from a couple of years ago that's just one of my favorites that we've ever done for a bonus video. So that one's included as well. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we've got all our kind of lines going in here. Just making sure that I get them straight. I think we've got most of the light color area added that we needed to add. Go back in here and add some of a little bit of brighter pops of white here and there on some of these that I just put in. Using very light touch, just kind of, I've got a lot of paint on my brush, but I'm not pressing down really hard, so I'm getting kind of wispy coverage. This is really fun. All right, so let's start doing our darker clouds. I'm seeing purple, so let's go ahead and use that Quinacridone Magenta. Scrape off a spot to use. Oh, this is dry, so I just scrape it off here so I have a spot to work my new colors in, blend them. Nice thing about using a glass palette. Thank you, Lori.
So you went from foam plates,
Yeah,
to
palette paper.
paper.
Which I used to use. I used to use palette paper, but I started the foam plates because it was cheaper with my kids' classes. It got too expensive using palette paper for the kids. So I did foam plates instead. And then now we're on a glass palette, which I really like more than I thought it would. It does dry a little bit faster than the palette paper, but it's worth it for the convenience of this. All right, there we go. So, and the nice thing about these Willows blenders too, I forgot to mention, is like some of the other brushes that I use sometimes for scrubbing or have used in the past, like the Deerfoot stipplers. If you get them wet, they start to get soggy. And these ones, something about the whatever it is that they use in them, they don't get soggy. So it's nice. They keep their stiffness. All right. Oh, I don't know why I added yellow. I don't want yellow in there. Quinacridone Magenta.
What are you laughing at?
You. And
I'm just sitting here.
purple. And then I've married for you for too long. I know what you're thinking. All right. Thank you for not saying it. I know you wanted to. Okay, getting some brown here just to tone that down so it's not like a circusy color. I want it kind of more muted. Purple, blue, ultramarine blue. Yeah, that's the color right there. Purple, ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt umber. This one's got some of the pink added into it with the blue and the purple. And this one's just purple, kind of the little bit more white version. So I've got kind of 3 different ones to work with here. And I'm going to start down low with this lighter color, which is closer to this horizon line here. Yeah, that's the color right there. Really pretty. So I'm just going to tap it in here. I'm going to use some glazing liquid so that I can get kind of a thinner coverage right in here, just to blend it over the top of that orange. So blend kind of the beginning of where this color starts. And then right above this, right in here, this color starts to kind of show up right in here in our inner line right here. Yeah, this is the right one. Okay, just trying to make sure I'm on the right line here. There's so many things going on with this one, it's easy to get kind of lost. So there's this one, and then there's this one up here that kind of has a little bit more random dark spots. It's not as obvious. There's just a few, but this one's got the darker, so I'm going to get the next darker color here. Start adding that in. Ooh, it's going to look really, really dark against your sky. If you want to, you can add a little bit of zinc white and some glazing liquid to tone it down just slightly and kind of help those edges blend in. I'm kind of going in between these light areas that I've already done. I think I went a little bit low right there. What I can do is grab a little bit of my light ultramarine blue and a little bit of that phthalo blue, which is our sky color, and just kind of come right up underneath. Some more white. So it should look a little bit lighter when it goes on because it dries darker. So if you're kind of trying to blend in these clouds here like I am doing right there, these colors dry a little bit darker. So just going through here and just kind of softening up some of these edges with this blue. Blending them out a little bit. There we go. Smudging them a little bit. Keep on going. I'm going to spray that to keep that paint wet. And I'm just using regular water. Somebody asked what I was spraying with the other day. It's just water. Nothing fancy. This is so fun. I love this. Okay. Bringing this color down to the horizon line over here. That kind of dark color goes all the way down low, and then this darker purple goes all the way into our trees right here. Get that lighter color, come up right up underneath it, and just try to kind of blend it out, wiping that off. And then I'm going to grab some of that blue and come up above it and add a little bit of that blue right up in here. There we go. That looks good. Get a little bit more of that darker purple color. Using some of that blue, just to kind of smudge it out a little bit. Okay. I'm starting to get a little bit of that darker. I'm going to go ahead and blend this darker color with my lighter color here and kind of use it right in here to kind of darken up that cloud right there. This one is coming up under right here, and it's going to go all the way across. I've already got kind of that yellow orange line there for it, so I'm just going to kind of follow that. There's some darker clouds sort of along the horizon there, so I'm going to kind of smudge those in a little bit and then widen these out as they get towards this outside edge. Really kind of fill up this whole area over here with them. Get some of that blue. And I'm smudging around it with the blue to kind of blend those two together. Okay, pretty good. Let's get a little bit darker in through here. Get a little bit more of my pink. And then get a little bit more of that darker. Get some ultramarine blue here and just add a little bit more of a blue color to these clouds back here. Okay. Get a little bit of that blue, kind of mixing it in with this purpley color, kind of softening up that outer edges of it, smudging it. Use that softer pink closer up here. How you doing, hon?
I'm fighting off sleep.
Are you? Uh-oh.
Your voice is so soothing.
Is it?
I was like, oh, working all morning. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Time for a nap.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I'll wake you up. It's time to close it out. Yeah. It's all right. Okay, and then in here, there's a big old cloud right here, getting that dark purpley color. Going right over the top of that. Just trying to keep it soft and light, not laying down any too much paint at once. If I keep a lot of paint on my brush, or a decent amount of paint on my brush, then I don't have to touch as hard to get it to come off of my brush. And so I can get these more wispier kind of looking clouds happening. I'm going to get a little bit of brown just to tone that down. All that brown does is just kind of keep it a little bit more earthy. I don't want so much brown that it looks dull, but it's not going to be. These colors right out of the tube are pretty, Ginger Cook calls them circus colors. It's pretty appropriate. They're very circusy. They're very kind of bright. They're intended to be mixed. They're not really intended to be used straight from the tube. You know, very rarely will you see these super highly concentrated colors in nature. Sometimes you do. You know, sometimes I do use them, sometimes straight out of the tube, but not that often. You know, most of the time it's like in flowers or maybe bird feathers or something like that. But a lot of times, like with clouds and things, there's a little bit toned down, neutralized with a little bit of a graying agent of some sort. Ochre, sienna, burnt umber, something like that. Okay, using the glazing liquid here. Keeping it transparent. I want some of it to be a little bit solider, more solid or darker than others. So I'm going to go tapping back in here. It's a little bit more color in some places. And then I can use some of the lighter pink, kind of influence some of them, help that transition between the light colors and the darker. And I can also go back in with my Zinc White. And kind of go over the top of some of it with my Zinc White. Just in some places, the Zinc White just will kind of help. You don't want it to look like it's just another color pasted on top. You want them to, you know, kind of make sense. So that Zinc White sort of helps merge them and make them a little softer and smoother transition between some of these colors. All right, we're good. Looking good. Painting's not looking too bad either. Okay, using that glazing liquid here, just kind of tapping over some of these transition areas, softening up where it's kind of contacting that black, or the blue, I mean. It's even still a little bit bright. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the burnt umber and blue, mostly blue. Grab a little bit of that purple. Yeah, there we go. There we go. It's that really dark contrast that makes this so dramatic. And it really is that dark. If you were to, you know, take this painting and, or take the reference photo and turn it into black and white, you'd see how much difference there is between these dark clouds and the lighter ones. Okay, so this one's out in here somewhere. Follow that line there. It's a little scary because you know you got your clouds, you got your sky kind of like, you know, kind of like looking good, you know, with the white clouds and everything, and then you get this darker purple in there and you're like, oh, it's a little bit scary, not gonna lie. Like, don't want to mess it up, but you know, it's only paint. You can always paint over it if you need to. A lot of times people will post their pictures and be like, oh, it's terrible, I think I'm gonna cover it. And I'm like, no, I mean, you only need like a couple more layers on there and it would have been just right. So I think people tend to have a hard time kind of assessing what their own painting looks like. So I would say before you do anything drastic, if you get stuck or you get frustrated, just stop. Just stop what you're doing. Don't try to fix it. Just stop and kind of let it set. Maybe read a book, go watch a movie, set it up in your living room where you can see it while you're doing that, and maybe a day, maybe two later, try again. And a lot of times you'll find that I find when I do that, if I, you know, and I do get stuck, unfortunately I don't get the chance to do that with these kind of paintings, but that's why I think I like those bonus videos that we do, or the challenge images that I do with the Facebook group, because I have a chance to really stop and look at it between layers and kind of think about what I need to do to continue fixing it, you know, continue on. You know, a lot of times it only takes a little nudge and, you know, and then you're done. So a lot of times there's a lot of paintings that look terrible until the very end, you know, and you kind of just have to trust that process and realize that acrylics especially look pretty ugly when they're in that teenager phase. You know, they're pretty awkward looking. They just need a little bit more.
You weren't awkward looking in your teenage years.
I was.
No, you weren't.
Did I peak I think I peaked in my teenage years.
Oh, no.
You're only saying that because you were into me.
Still am.
Nice. Good dancer. I was about 13.
You were older.
You didn't meet me. You didn't meet me when I was 13. It's pretty awkward.
It sounds creepy coming from an old guy right now, but
Yeah.
I've seen pictures. You were pretty cute.
Like, wait a minute.
I think I can say that since I've been married to you for 31 years.
Yeah, I guess it's all right. I got some pink here I'm working on. Yeah, that's funny. Getting some white. I'm going to come up underneath some of these and add a little bit of Papa white. Pop of, not Papa white. Papa white. I know, exactly. That's what it sounded like. And some Papa white. Here. All right, I think we're getting pretty close. Pretty happy with that on the whole. Might. I don't know what I just did there. That's not what I intended for it to look like. There we go.
So people are asking about the glass palette. It is the New Wave Posh Glass Artist Palette 9x12 gray. And there's a link in your Amazon store. Just click show more and down there's a hyperlink. And
Yeah,
go on over
it's
there.
amazon.com/shop/Angela Fine Art. That's my Amazon store. You won't be able to find it by Googling Angela Anderson on YouTube, on Amazon, or searching for it, and it doesn't pop up that way. You have to go straight to the.
Click the
You have
link.
to, you have to either click my link there down in the description or type it in, and then it'll take you there. And that helps our channel too. So any purchases you make through that Amazon link, helps support our channel. We get a little check from Amazon every month for stuff that people buy using our link, which we really appreciate you doing, especially with Christmas and all the holidays coming up.
Yeah. You need to send those links to your loved ones so they know what to get you for Christmas.
Yeah,
See here.
it's a good idea.
And the brush guys.
Yep, and the brush guys too. The Amazon, you don't have to have a special code or anything. It doesn't cost you anything more using the link. It just helps support our channel. With the same thing with the brush guys, that they actually give you a discount for using our link. So if you do use the code Angela Fine Art, then on thebrushguys.com, all one word, it gives you 5% off, and it also credits our channel a little bit. Every little bit helps pay for all this paint and stuff.
And chocolate.
And chocolate, and yeah. In our studio renovations, we're hoping that we're going to be adding a new camera probably at the beginning of next year sometime. I'm going to get a robo camera that Mark can move around and adjust. That's the plan, at least. We'll see if it happens. I'm not sure when it'll happen, but we're going to wait and see if it goes on sale at Christmas time. That's what we're hoping for. So As soon as we see it for a price that we want to pay, we'll get it, kind of thing. But yeah, we so appreciate you guys that do use those links, and we've got all kinds of lists. I've actually been listing a lot of the stuff that I've bought for the house in a playlist there on, not playlist, but in a list on Amazon. I've also got a list for kind of fun Christmas stuff and just music and books and things. So if you're interested in any of that, all kinds of different links. But if you want the one with the palette, it's the acrylic painting supply list. So there's like 4 different lists on there. So you need to click on the acrylic painting supply list, and it'll take you to that, and you can scroll down and find the palette there pretty easily. All right. And even if you don't buy what's on our list, it still credits our account if you visit Amazon through our link. So even if you go and you check it out and you decide you want something different, it doesn't matter. It's all the same to us. They just, yeah, it's just a bonus for referring you to Amazon. So pretty cool, pretty nice that they support artists that way. And I also wanted to mention too, I'm glad I thought about this. Speaking of artists, last night I was on Facebook, and one of my friends who's a musician, Rob, his band's named some guy named Rob, right? And he did a kind of impromptu Facebook Live concert, and he said he's trying to do some Facebook Lives on YouTube, but you have to have 1,000 subscribers before you can start doing that. And trust me, he's a lot of fun. He's really funny, and his voice is very, I'm trying to think, kind of almost Joe Cocker, like very smoky, raspy voice. He does kind of Americana folk, bluesy, I don't know. Really unique, interesting sounds. Got a bunch of albums. I actually did the artwork for one of his albums a couple of years ago, and anyhow, he wants to start getting into doing some live streaming. So if you like music and you want to help out a musician, you can. His link to his channel is in my cards. So up in the upper corner of my video, there should be an eye with a circle around it, and that's iCards, and his channel is listed on there. Some guy named Rob. So yeah, just a little shout out for Rob. I told him I'd help. He's one of the most generous. He actually helped me out when I was first starting on YouTube a lot. He promoted me on his channel when he was a lot bigger than I was at the time. You know, he was, but he wasn't doing YouTube really, you know, but he was like, anytime he'd see me watching his concerts or something, he'd be like, hey, check out Angela's channel. She's doing some really cool stuff over there. And so I just really appreciated it. He's a really cool guy. He supports the arts, and he is worth to listen to for sure. Super talented.
Yeah, it is. His album Up Seems So Down is the one that she did the artwork for. Yeah. And his little girl and her little son and daughter were in my art class for a while there that I did with kids. Before I started doing YouTube, I was doing kids classes here locally. That's actually kind of how I got into doing YouTube, because I started teaching on YouTube what I was doing in those kids classes. And they took off, and you know, here we are, 388 videos later, still doing it. So it's amazing how life kind of takes you in different directions. And real quick, which brush are you using?
I'm using the 1/4" Willow's Blender still. I'm getting some more of that pink here, so I'm just kind of going back and forth here, just kind of adding little bits of color here, and I don't want to overdo some of these. I feel like I overdid that area, so I'm going to kind of have to go back over that a little bit, but I'm adding some of this lighter colors back in now that I have my dark areas in here, just kind of adding some of these in and around my dark clouds where it needs it. There's some kind of lighter stuff in between sort of these rows. There's still some kind of, get some of this pink. It's not just like straight rows. A lot of these are kind of merging into one another. So I'm trying to get some of that going on. Get some of that what am I thinking? Zinc White, thank you. I'm hard time thinking. Right, I'm gonna need to stop here and start working on those fields because I feel like I've been working on this for a while. Yeah. Let's get going on the rest of it. Works like I want to go take a nap.
I gotta work on the cabinet some more.
Are you?
I need to.
Okay.
Before they get the countertops in.
I see. Okay. Stop there. I'm gonna put a little bit more of that dark purple up there if I can get some. I don't see any left. Let's get some blue. Glazing liquid. Just gonna glaze over. It's good. This is just glazing liquid in my that blue purple. All right, I'm gonna stop there. May do more later, but we'll see. All right, so let's work on our field here. I'm gonna grab some of this yellow. Let's get some of the yellow oxide, phthalo green. Kind of tone it down. I'm going to use some of the unbleached titanium. And I'm just going to do one more layer. Get it nice and light. Might need white. And I'm just going to kind of lightly run this over the top of my green fields. Picking up that texture of the canvas there. Okay, a little bit more green over here. And then let's do our shadow area, which I'm going to use the Ultramarine Blue and mix that in with that green. I'm going to use that a little bit over here. this tree, which is going to be right in here. Right, I moved it right here, so I'm just going to use that as my tree trunk right there and do the area underneath that tree with this color. And then just use a little bit of glazing liquid. Maybe a little bit more. I'm going to grab that light ultramarine blue. And I'm going to run this shadow right across this field. Keep it thin. Keep it really thin. And it's okay if it's kind of uneven because it's going to be kind of bumpy anyways, right? Wipe that off. I'm going to get some of that lighter color, and I'm just going to kind of straighten out some of that. There we go. Let's get some of that cobalt teal too. There we go. Okay. Let's use some of that cobalt teal and light ultramarine. And right in here, right about, let's see, here's our halfway mark. So just about half of half, just above that. It'll be right below that area there. I'm going to go across like this. That's about right. Yep. It's a little bit of a diagonal. Get a little bit of that ultramarine blue. That. Some glazing liquid. Get it darker. There we go. And then I'm going to do a few more lines in here. Can't see what's going on over there. There's something happening in that grass. Maybe another tree over here that we can't see. Get some yellow and green, like a really bright lime green. I'm going to use it right in here. Actually, let me use this. So I'll start using my fan brush. So I'm going to get a little bit more of this. Kind of a bright. Let's use a little bit of the yellow oxide to tone it down just slightly. But it's pretty bright. Can use a little bit of white to lighten it. See how this goes. Just setting that brush down and kind of tapping upward. Yep, it works. A little bit of that darker color underneath. It's just kind of adding a little texture. And keeping these very small back here. They're really short. And this is just about the halfway mark on here. It's a little bit higher than halfway over here. And then right about the halfway mark on the other side. Use a little bit of this back in here. And then I want to use this white and some of the yellow oxide Maybe a little bit of burnt sienna. Yeah, that's good. Kind of an earthy green color. Lighten it up. I'm going to use it in here. And just kind of run it side to side here. I'm going to use a little tiny bit of pink since it's kind of picking up the colors of the sky, I think.
Are you using any glazing liquid?
A little bit, but not much. These are going down pretty solid. Right, adding a little bit of the pink to this. Quinacridone Magenta here. And just right in here where there's kind of that glow from the sky, I'm just going to add a little bit of that pink to my field. Right through there, a little bit through here. You don't want it too pink, so if you look at it and it's like, wow, that's really pink, then you got it too much pink. You can add a little bit of green to it, it'll tone it down. It should kind of just blend in with these other colors. Use a little bit of lighter color here. Kind of streaks of highlights kind of around my shadow area. Just adding white here to my greens. Right.
So somebody wants to know, does the pink pull it forward or push it back?
Well, it's not super pink, so it will pull it forward visually, but it's in there, so it's you know, it's mixed up with enough of that green that it's a neutral, you know. It's not, if it was a super vibrant pink, it would be too pink. That's why I said, you know, if it looks pink to your eye and you're like, wow, that's really pink, then it's too pink. You need it to be toned down with that green for it to be the right kind of tone. You don't want it to be so pink that it'll pull the perspective off. Just a touch. Okay. All right, then let me add, I'm going to get a little bit, I guess I'll stick with the, now I'll get this brush here, get a little bit bigger, dear Willow's blender here. Green, let's get a little bit of burnt sienna, burnt umber, a little bit of purple. All right, so let's tap in our cloud, our correct tree line over here. Bring it up a little bit. Okay, get a lot of that purple down here. Really dark red in there. And then get more of that green up above, right in here. I'm just trying to tap really loosely so I get some spottiness between my greenery. There we go.
Okay, we got a question. Somebody would like to know if there's any tips for not getting like muddy or ashy looking colors. It says that it finds that it's happening more to them lately.
I think probably you just need to clean out your brush more often, most likely. Sounds like it's just not, keeping your brush clean enough between your colors. So, and also like when you switch to, when you switch from like a purple to a yellow or something like that, you'll get really a lot of ashiness if you don't clean out your brushes between colors that are opposite on the color wheel will cause that to happen. So if you're using let's see, get purple here, sorry. There we go. I was just adding a little bit of my lighter colors to there, but I think I'm going to just let that dry because it was mixing. It's mixing too much. Those color, the dark green is still too wet, so just going to let it sit for a minute and let it dry, and then I'll add my lighter colors over the top. But yeah, that sounds like what's happening. It just sounds like you're probably or mixing, make sure you've got a clean area to blend your colors with, and just make sure you're cleaning out your brushes often enough to, especially when you're switching from the colors. I would question whether or not they're using a matte medium too, because matte medium can dull your colors some. So I would wonder if that would be an issue, maybe part of the problem. Okay, using the burnt sienna. I just use a little bit of everything. A little bit of blue, ultramarine blue, a little bit of purple, burnt sienna, and the green there. I'm just going to go in here and add some layers of the darker green. Yeah, I'm using this brush so I can get kind of some softer wispiness in here, not solid clumps. I do want it really, really dark though, so I'm going to get a little bit more of that purple. Yeah, some areas really dark. Doesn't have to be everywhere, but just a few little areas are really, really dark. So it'll give us something to play against. We got to have it dark for our light colors to really pop. And again, if you looked at this in black and white, you'd see that these areas down here at the bottom are almost black. So you need it really dark. Right now they're way too light. It's not going to work. So just going to tap it in here so I get kind of some irregular color here. It'll make it look a little bit more natural when we put our grasses in, because it won't be, it doesn't have to be solid underneath. So I'll darken it up, but leave a little bit of that lighter color here and there. Here we go. Okay, and then up in here, I'm going to grab some glazing liquid. I'm going to do some of it up in here, but keep it a little bit thinner. And I'm just tapping it off. It'll be just underneath that line that we did before. And I need to darken that line up because it's not dark enough, so I'm going to use this color. Lots of glazing liquid and just kind of go back over that line.
Hey, do you know what you call a religious pile of hay?
What?
Christian Bale.
That's good.
And,
Hay puns.
yeah, don't order hay for your horse off of Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, because after a couple of days, they'll ask for your feedback.
You guys are having fun in there, aren't you? It's awesome. And she sighs. Okay. And then there's a little hay bale right in here. Let me see where it's going to be. There's one right here. So I'm going to put his little shadow in. There's one right above it, right here. That's just below this line here. It comes out. And actually, that's way too thick. Let me get that thin. There we go. I need a liner brush for this. This brush is just a little too thick. It's not giving me thin enough lines. Or way back in here. Alright, let's see. And then there's a bunch of area in here that's just got some random dark areas. I'm just going to tap, kind of flip my brush around. Kind of flick it here and there. Try to get that grassy texture, sort of. Whoops. I already did that lighter green, so I'm kind of going just below that lighter green area that I already did. Add in a shadow below it. Going over the top of some of it. We can always add more. Okay, there we go. Yeah, just doing that, look how much more dramatic that is in the background. Like really starts to look farther away already. And get some of this lighter color. Tap some of that in. These paints are just almost practically dry on the palette. Alright, getting some of the lighter green. Here we go. Not doing too bad for these smaller grasses in the background here. It's keeping the brush strokes smaller too, which is nice. Okay, coming right up underneath. Now we've got that dark in there, so now these are really going to start showing up. Because up here it was kind of lighter behind it, so you weren't really seeing them very much. But down here we're really going to be able to see these little grassy bits. And this brush is working pretty good, so I'm just going to stick with it until I need to switch. What?
1/4 inch?
This is a 3/8 inch Willis blender. And the Willis blender is just, it's a brush that only Princeton makes. Which, by the way, they're starting to publish our brush videos on their page here on Princeton's page on YouTube. So if you want to see some of the brush videos we did for them, how to use different brushes, you can check that out. I don't have the link to it up, but yeah, I haven't looked at them yet. I kind of don't want to. I kind of feel like I don't want to know. Like, you know, it's kind of like movie stars don't want to watch themselves. It kind of feel like that a little bit. I don't really go back and watch my videos either. It's kind of weird. It makes me self-conscious when I start, you know, doing that, so I'd much rather just kind of pretend like it's just you and me in the studio.
So
a few friends hanging out.
So will they have their own YouTube channel, you said?
I think so. I think that's what they said. They posted on their YouTube channel.
Because when I put when I put Princeton brushes in the search, I see that you're live.
Oh, really?
In the results, yeah. Princeton Art and Brush Company.
Yep, that's the one. Okay, getting the cadmium yellow light and the phthalo green here. Lots of white.
Oh, I recognize that hand.
A little bit of yellow oxide. Okay, I switched to my fan brush now. And I'm gonna... I need to thin this paint out. The fan brush works better if your paint's a little bit thin. So I'm gonna thin this out a little bit with water and then add a little glazing liquid to make it stick. I'm gonna press down there to kind of try to get those bristles separated too, and then run it through. See if that helps.
Yep, there's 2 videos over there.
Cool. Are they the angle brush and the...
There's an angular shader select.
Yeah.
And there's a flat wash select.
Yeah, those were the first 2 videos that I did for them. So.
Hey, my tank video's got more views so far, so...
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think they've had a whole lot of videos on their channel.
They don't have very many subscribers.
No, they don't.
So go over there, subscribe.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, you get to see all of our brush videos that we did.
Oh, I'm hitting subscribe right now as we speak.
Do it. Well, they, I think they have it kind of as a reference. What they're doing is they're putting it on their website. So they're posting it on YouTube, and then they're going to post the links, embed the links on the website so that people going to their website to see how to use their brushes will have those videos to refer them to. They can go to YouTube and check it out. I'm just kind of going back and forth. You can see how I'm kind of changing the direction. These ones on the bottom, I'm kind of coming up a little higher, and then as I go up, I'm kind of changing the depth of my brush strokes so that they're a little bit thinner. A little bit shorter, I mean. And changing up the direction that I'm brushing them, so these fields are kind of matted down in places. Some of the grasses are going in different directions. They're not all going to be facing the same way. Okay, that's good. Getting a little bit of the burnt sienna. Add a little bit of that to it. Maybe add a little bit of white. I'm gonna do a little bit with that, just like a different tone, a little bit more earthy, brownish. Maybe some of these are dried. And I'm just trying to avoid like any obvious patterns to it too, so that I don't have any lines that I have to go back and cover. But there's a couple like kind of diagonal sort of sections to this grass. I'm trying to kind of get in her right here. And then this area here has got some brighter green, yellowy green. Yellow, white, get a little bit of that green from before, add water to it, thin it down.
It looks like the oval wash select was also posted.
Oval wash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I think we just did a background for that one. I don't think we did anything special, and we didn't do a project for that one. Yeah. Cool. So, oh, the dagger striper, too. The dagger striper was a fun one. Mm-hmm. That one's one of mine, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, there's 4.
Yeah, the dagger striper is a really fun one if you want to learn to do that. We did the, here, well, I'll show them on. Dagger striper's got the little, what is that called? Flower. Can't think of it.
Flower thing.
Yeah, I wish they'd showed the finished product, because that one we did some willow blossoms, and this one was kind of a simple landscape, and then this one was that flower, and then bird of paradise flower, and then that one's just kind of a blending video. But we did a different project for each brush, so there's 29 different videos that we did, and those should be coming out soon, like I said. So shows how to use all their every single one of the select line brushes. So
fancy.
I know, pretty fun. There were some brushes that I'd never used before. Honestly.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I learned some stuff myself doing it. It was pretty fun.
And the $10 Patreon people got to watch you do those.
Right, behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Yep, they got to watch the recording of them. Took us a couple months. Did a lot of videos. A lot of videos. And those are still available to watch. Those behind the scenes ones are still up on Crowdcast, so if you sign up for the $10 level, they're there. All right, I'm gonna tap some of this color into my background just to kind of break up. I feel like I've got a lot of sameness going on back here. Just tap it on, break it up. I need to get these finished. These are taking a long time. Sorry, Ann. Okay, so let's see. Let's get this blue here. This is light ultramarine blue. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to it to darken it up a little bit. And then we'll do the little Haybales back in here. Actually, I need to do well, I can do these ones that are low. I'm going to do this one in a little bit. It goes right up against the thing there, and get the unbleached titanium for the front faces, and we'll add a little bit of shadowing, but they're going to be pretty light, pretty small. I mean, it's pretty subtle.
Did you know they outlawed the round hay bales?
What?
They outlawed the round hay bales.
They did? Why?
Because the cows weren't getting a square meal. Seriously. See, the thing is, the longer the video goes, it has more time for me to come up with these sweet jokes. So
Are you coming up with them, or other people helping abet you? Like, are you getting some help with those?
I looked them up.
I feel like you're...
I looked them up online.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, I'd have to talk with some of my subscribers about enabling you.
Some of the unusual suspects.
Yeah. So, Mona...
Yeah,
to help you with their puns.
She hasn't thrown any out there yet today,
Uh-oh,
so...
Okay. Just saying. A little bit of blue. He's really, yeah, they're pretty much blue. So these sides that are facing away from the sun. I'm going to put some of these right in here in that shadow. A little bit bigger. They're not quite to the top of the horizon line there. So kind of keep them in between right there. There, another one right here. Some of them that are, this one's almost to the top, not quite. Some of them that are well in the distance there are basically just little dots. So I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of blue shadow to the bottom of them and call them good. Not a whole lot to them. Okay. I got that one a little bit big. Try to tone it down. There we go. And I'm going to come up underneath some of these and add a little bit of the lighter color, and then you can also add, I mean, these are so tiny, but you are seeing just a little bit of a shadow, so just like pull a little bit of a line out from the bottom out. And I've switched to a small brush here, using the 3 round. You can switch to a smaller one, and even still if you need it. There's a big old round one right here that goes right in here. And the bottom of it is kind of flattened out, so these are all kind of they're not perfect rounds. The bottoms are kind of smushed down, so keep that in mind too. It's not like going to be, like this one's a little bit of circle, too circular. I'm going to smush that bottom down a little bit, flatten it out. The ones that are facing this way, get some of that blue, ultramarine blue here, maybe a little bit of the phthalo blue. There we go. I'm just going to run it in a circle when I paint it and let it be a little bit thicker in some areas, and maybe get a little bit of this purple. And run that through so that it has a little bit of a swirl in there. Just these ones that are kind of closer, that has a little detail in it. And like this one is a little bit higher. The ones that are farther away are going to be higher up on the horizon line. They're going to be smaller. That blue. These two are overlapping, but I'm not going to make them overlap. I'm just going to kind of separate them out a little bit. This one's just a little bit bigger. Go. Get that darker color for the centers. And then use that glazing liquid, some shadow, and then grab a little bit of that green, come up underneath, just add a little bit of that green, sort of underneath where these are, kind of highlight that area in front just a little bit. Okay, we're almost there with these. So these ones over here, I need to add a little bit of a darker shadow toward the bottom here. And a little bit of a shadow out. Let's do the trees. Now that these are all dry, I can kind of do those tree lines. I think I'm going to switch to the Deerfoot Stippler and see if I can get a better, it's a little bit smaller. This one's an 1/8 inch. So I'm going to get some of the yellow. I'm going to get some of this grass color down here. Add a little bit of the yellow green. Yellow, and then I want to tone it down a little bit, so I'm going to add a little bit of the yellow oxide just to make it a little bit more natural color, a little more earthy. Right, and then I'm going to just use that tip of my brush to add some highlights in here. And I'm going to use another brush. I'm going to use this 1/4 inch Deer Willows blender with like a green and burnt umber or burnt sienna mixture. Maybe a little tiny bit of unbleached titanium to lighten it up a little bit. Let me see if I can get a little bit lighter. I want it to be just kind of a medium. So I've got the dark on here now. So I want like a medium, and then this will be the light. So I want to do like 2. Yeah, that's good. Kind of a medium color in here. Maybe add a little bit of that yellow to it. There we go. That's the color right there, I think. Yep, okay. So I'm going to use this kind of down low here, that kind of medium color. The lighter color be sort of towards the tops of these. Do some low bushes right along that horizon line. And don't do them in a straight line either, kind of, you know, vary the height of them. Grab some of that lighter yellow. I'm just going to stick with this brush. It seems to be working okay. I have a little bit easier time of it. I'll do some of these like really bright yellow. Nice bright color on these ones over here. Grab some more of that yellow. Really put some bright color on these ones. They're closest to the sun. There we go. Okay. And then over here, these ones are kind of weird colors. They're kind of yellows and kind of pinks in here, so I'm going to use some pink. Do some of these trees kind of with a pinkish tone, kind of that orangey color. These are smaller, so they're tinier little trees. More overlapping, less definition. Some of that green, some of that yellow green, maybe some of that. Okay, good. Let's do our tree. So I'm gonna get burned umber and just kind of do my tree trunk with that. Throw in a few little branchy type things here, but most of this is going to be covered up. Get that burnt umber and green and purple. Tap, tap, tap. Nice and dark. Gonna bring it all the way up here. Make sure that you leave some of this yellow peeking through in places. From the sky. I'm kind of doing a little bit lighter color there on this side. Oh, and I need to bring it down because it's coming down below the horizon line there, so it's all the way down into here. It's pretty dark. I'm going to add more purple. It's really dark right here. And what I need to do is, since this is not showing up dark enough, I need to lighten that area behind it. So I'm going to take my light ultramarine blue, mix it with that green, and just kind of add it a little bit to those trees that are right back here. On both sides. Get a little bit of that yellow. Just lightening up that whole area there. Okay, and then now that tree's standing out against that now. Get that purple again. Okay. And then I'm going to use that yellow. oxide. And boom, boom, right here on this side. It's getting all this light. And stop about halfway. This other side's not getting any light, so don't forget. Okay, I'm going to tap in a little bit of this color down low.
So we want to let everybody know that since it'll be their painting, they can put the bales in, they can leave the bales out,
Right.
they can put in other critters or whatever, tanks, aliens, tanks, whatever else that you want to put in the fields. You know, it's your painting, so do what you want.
Don't let us influence you at all.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for putting that out.
Thanks. Thanks, hon.
You're welcome.
Okay, adding a little dots of this unbleached titanium. I'm going to use it on our Haybales. Some of these are still in shadows. I'm going to add a little bit of that light ultramarine blue to these ones. Yeah, that's fine. There's one right here that I haven't done yet. Do a little bit of the blue. It's actually, yeah, like that. Get some white here. Add a little highlight to that one. Just add a little highlight to this one. I might tone these down later, but I'm just going to add it now. See, I missed one, but I'm not going to put that in. I don't care. Okay, so it's going to get a little narrower as it goes into our vanishing point, and it's going to mimic this curve here and then just disappear down that line there. So this, it's not completely flat here, it's just a little bit angled towards our vanishing point. Okay, and then this bottom part here, I'm just going to use a little bit of yellow oxide. Shadow there, and up here too, there's a little shadow. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this unbleached, or the light ultramarine blue. Make sure I have a pattern in my hay bale there. My paints are so sticky, they're not cooperating very well to me right now. That's ultramarine blue there with a little bit of white, and then this is more straight ultramarine, just kind of a little darkened up there.
So somebody asked for
they're
the
really dark. Actually, I need to go darker than that. What?
somebody asked for the vanishing point reference again.
Our sun is kind of our vanishing point here, so it's pretty shallow. You can see everything's kind of pointing to that, so you can see that the angle is not very deep, so it's not that noticeable. If it was down here, it would be, you know, like if our hay bale was right here, then the top of it would be angled a lot more. But right here, they're not as noticeable. These ones are almost straight. Okay, going in here and making these really dark. These should be pretty much the same darkness as the dark parts of our clouds. So if we did it right. And just a little section right in the middle there that's a little bit highlighted. And I mean, I can do more with I guess I need to do a few grasses, but not sure if my paint's gonna work for me. I'll try. It's pretty dried out. And with your liner brush, you really need your paint thin. It needs to be like milk consistency, and add a little glazing liquid. That'll thicken it up a little bit. So but it'll make it stick to the canvas. And I'm gonna, yeah, this will kind of soften up those thicker lines of that fan brush made. So especially like right here in the front. Really, that's all we're really concerned about. Just kind of right in here, just making sure that this all looks good. So this is in our foreground, and like I said, you could add, I think it'd be pretty with some daisies or something in there. I'm not going to do it today, but some late season flowers. Trees aren't quite turned yet, so I don't think it's quite autumn, but you could always add some color to your trees too, and make them more autumn colors if you wanted to. I've got lots of tutorials with autumn colored trees, so there's plenty of them out there to choose from. All right, I'm gonna call that good. I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. I'm not 100% happy with colors in here. And I'm gonna try to get these lighter. Get a little bit more lighter, kind of lime green colors going on in here. Because it's like these are getting lit up, so I want to have that lime green color in there. And then what I can do is go back in here with my glazing liquid and my burnt umber and green. Maybe a little bit of purple, green. Get it really dark. And use that to glaze some of this grass in here. Like especially if I've lost some of the definition or lost some of my dark areas, I usually go back in here. And also kind of helps kind of hide some of the ends of the grasses. So some of them kind of tend to sort of be obvious in places. It kind of helps if you kind of go right up underneath them and kind of add a little bit of glazing. And then you can always go back in and add another layer of your lighter highlight grasses on top of everything if you need to. If you've glazed over all of your light grasses, but I'm just going to glaze over this whole area here and just add a little bit of more of my lighter grasses over the top. Just felt like it was getting kind of muddy. grasses, my dark areas anymore in there. Over here, it's not as bad. But, okay, so let me get my fan brush. Where is it? Oh, my brushes are in my water. They're having a pool party.
Everybody's in the pool.
Everybody's in the pool. They shouldn't be. Because that makes my handles crack. Oh my gosh, 2.5 hours. Oh, okay. Almost 2:40. That's not too bad, actually, for this kind of a detail painting.
Just say no to handle crack.
Yes, don't do it.
Or pumpkin crack.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The picture I posted in your group this week.
Oh God. Don't look for that, people. Don't do yourself a favor. It's terrible. I need to moderate your posts.
Put them up for a review before.
Yeah, I need to put you on review. Take you off as admin. Okay. Cute. Alright, I think we're good. Add a little bit of this yellowish to my mid-level here. Yeah, turned out all right. Get my pen and sign it. Come up a little bit here. Hopefully it'll stick because this paint's wet right here and it's not wanting to stick. Super chat, what? If you do that and you get your paint gunked up on your pen, you need to just wipe it off on a towel so it doesn't dry because that'll clog your pen. So I just take it on a towel and make sure I get all that paint off of it before I cap it. Okay, just a small tip.
Small tips.
You'll thank me later.
And which type of pen was that? People ask all the time.
That was the Sakura Pigma FB fine brush. There's MB medium and bold BB. So FB Pigma. And Sakura is a brand.
Okay.
It's also in my Amazon store. So
on to Super Chat. We had one Super Chatter amongst all the great chatters. This was from Duana. And she says, well, I've been putting this off till I got a job, but I really appreciate your beautiful paintings and lessons. Angela and your work to help her mark. You've made me feel like I can do this. I really needed that.
oh, thank you.
Thank you, Duana.
Wow,
That's
you
so
make me
special.
cry. And on that note, thank you. That's so sweet of you.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. I'm so encouraged by that. That makes my day.
To all the supporters.
You guys are awesome. All right, I'm going to hold that square so you can see it a little bit better. Square there. But anyhow, yeah, turned out all right. I like it. It's cute. Yeah, I missed a couple of the little Haybales in there, but that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do them later, maybe, if I feel ambitious. But I like that we moved the tree over. I think that worked pretty well. Just moving it over just a little bit so it's a little bit closer to our center.
Of course, I pronounced the name wrong. It's Duana.
Duana.
I hope I pronounced it right
Duana.
that time.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you. And we will be back
Tuesday.
Yep.
Red trees?
What?
Is it red trees?
Red trees. Easy red trees. Yeah.
Easy red trees.
We're going to be using sponges and credit cards and doing them the easy way. So it should be a lot of fun. So reverting back to some of our first type of paintings that we used to do, which, you know, really, really easy. Trying to get some.
Oh, yeah, that looks awesome. Click over subscribe, click over to our
It'll
channel.
be fun. It'll be
Hit the bell.
really good kind of perspective lesson, I think, and get that. All right, just trying to get that lighter. I don't know. It's looking a little dark to me.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't forget Patreon. Traceables, all that stuff.
Yes, there'll be traceable. It usually takes me about a day to get it done because I got to trace it from the original digitally, and sometimes I have to nap in between. So.
No. You have to wait for this to dry.
Exactly.
No, not nap. Wink, wink.
All right, guys. Thanks. I'm going to stop. We'll see you next time. Bye.